Hey everybody, how's it going? Happy Wednesday. It's me, Dean, VP of Operations at Helpt. And today I want to talk a little bit about how your MSP can actually make money by reselling HelptNow, our live answering service. But because I don't want to come off like a shill, I'm going to tell you a similar story before I was at Helpt. Back when I was still an MSP, we had reached a point, maybe around like, I don't know, 12 employees, something around that point. And the standard MSP fare, open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., no employees, doing anything after that point unless it was an emergency. And we had your standard suite of tools in 2014 and, your basic backup tool running, your RMM doing a little bit of automation and patching and scripting. And, it was fine. The world was fine. And we realized at a certain point that there were a number of alerts and things that we would get at night and patching that didn't deploy properly or backups that failed, just standard stuff that we would end up remediating during the daytime. And being that I was a service manager at the time and I didn't want to take our daytime hours to fix things, I really got on my boss's behind that we need to find a way that we could staff and have a person do this at night. And of course at that size we really couldn't afford that, so we ended up contracting with a fantastic knock vendor at that time. And we had them basically set us up where they were going to add on a as we needed it, per client, knock services where humans would take care of that stuff in real time or triage it for the daytime team. And so the challenge we ran into is, of course, that's not free. It's not overwhelmingly expensive to hire an outsourcing vendor, but it's certainly not free. And the agreements, were priced well, but they weren't priced to just eat that. And I didn't want to take away my profitability as a service manager. So what we ended up doing at the time was we decided, well, let's tell everyone we're doing this. So we made an announcement, let all of our clients know that we were now having a human take care of everything 24/7, monitor all the back end stuff 24/7. And if they couldn't resolve stuff, they would at least triage it appropriately for the daytime team. And it led to some interesting conversations because, of course, some of our clients thought that we must have already been doing this. As you all know, clients will make up their own expectations if you don't set them. And it wasn't an unreasonable stretch to think that an agreement that said, automated patching meant a person was doing it. So we had to overcome a few objections, but we realized that, well, we got to mark this up. And since we were new to doing this and we were new to this category of vendor, we had no idea if this vendor would do something completely crazy in the future. So we marked it up a lot, like more than 200%. And we came back to our entire client base and we said, listen, this is now a standard part of how our MSP operates. We are going in and we are improving our maturity and our delivery. We are basically raising what we do to meet demands of the SMB market. So we are now going to be fully staffed 24/7 to take care of any sort of alerting and proactive, issues that might come up, whether you want it or not, because we're just that committed to excellence. For new clients, they're never going to know we never did this. It's just going to be part of their agreement. For you, our existing clients, you have two options. When your agreement next comes up for renewal, this will just be a part of your agreement because this is what we do. And your agreement price will be, reflective of that. Alternatively, if you'd like to get on this sooner, we have a slightly discounted price where you can bolt this on to give you sort of a ramp up to when this will go into our regular rotation of services. And wink, wink, a lot of people got to keep their discount when their agreement renewed. And so what we fell into quite by accident was, since most of this stuff was handled by automation and this service was relatively, consumption priced, this became a profit center. And it became a profit center that almost all of our clients were more than happy to pay for because they're like, this is great. I find out that the power company went out 2 hours before we open. Thanks, MSP. Now, some of this you can do now a little better with automation than we could then, obviously, but the concept still stands that you can take an outsourcing opportunity that really is solving more of your pain, and if you present it properly and mark it up appropriately, it can actually become a profit center. So let's talk a little bit about how you can do that with Helpt. So at Helpt, we don't offer that type of knock offering. So you can't do exactly what we did. But we do offer something that I think helps a lot of MSPs in the same way. We can pick up the phone 24/7. And you might be saying to me, well, I don't really have clients that call 24/7. Right. So that's not the business problem we're trying to solve here and what I'm suggesting in this video. It's the perception that you have availability 24/7. First of all, to go land clients that think they need that, even though we both know they don't. And it's being able to give the impression to your existing client base that you are constantly improving and maturing what you offer. And if you do that, even if it's fractionally used, which is awesome on Help because we're consumption based, so you're not getting punished too much if you don't use a lot of it. You come back to your clients and you say, listen, going forward, when you sign your new agreement, this is just going to be a thing we offer. Our MSP is just going to have 24/7 someone picking up the phone, whether you need that or not, that's going to intake all issues. A human will handle it, triage the issue, escalate to the appropriate team if necessary, whether you want it or not. We're just going to start offering that. And any new client that signs up with us, they're just automatically going to have that service added to their agreement. You're an existing client. We understand that wasn't something we originally talked about, but we are trying to improve how we deliver at our MSP. So when your agreement comes up for renewal, this will also be included in your agreement. If you'd like to get on it now, here's the increase now. Otherwise, you'll see that increase on your agreement in whatever, 6 months. And don't just mark it up enough to cover your costs. Mark it up enough in case Help does something crazy and you need to protect your margins, because we won't. And what'll end up happening is you'll have the same realization I did. Hey, this is a profit center. I'm actually making some money doing this, especially if you are correct in your assessment that most of your SMB clients don't actually need to call in for anything in the middle of the night. And we all know that is the case with most of the SMB clients. So yeah, you could look at it as an insurance policy that you don't need. I would look at it instead as a sophisticated, mature offering you can now add to your MSP. You can slightly upcharge for, make yourself look a little bit sexier in your client's eyes. And because they're not going to consume that much of it or any of it, it's a profit center, everybody. There's a ton of other cool stuff that Help can do for you besides this, but just kind of wanted to call that out today. And while we're talking about that, just kind of think a little bit about your entire stack and if you've approached how you're treating the cogs of your stack with this mindset. Because we're consumption based, we're a lot like a retainer agreement. So you're just going to pay for a block of minutes, and then the usage will be deducted from that. And then if you go over, then you're just billed for the overage. So there's just one flat cost in that sense. You know, we're not charging per client or per ticket. And where I think that is really useful for this idea of turning into a profit center is you're not being dinged by the scope that you want covered, just by what's actually used. So that allows you as the MSP to kind of come in and apply a relatively lower level plan if you don't think that your clients are going to use it very much at one cost for all your clients. And then you can go back to every client, make up some sort of line item like 24/7 phone triage, and then charge whatever you want. Like, you know, I don't know, if you can charge $200 a month for that, then do that. And so that could mean that one or two clients just pay for whatever Help plan you're on right there, which means the rest of them are all just producing profit, but yet your risk is still spread out pretty well. It's just a different way of thinking about it, that like you don't have to directly one-to-one offset that cost with your entire client base the way you might with other styles of this type of service. I forgot, this is Editing Room Dean. I forgot to tell you what HelptNow is. Whoops, I'm a bad salesperson. HelptNow is 24/7 technical live call answering. That's it. It's any type of call answering you've ever used, but better because we have actual MSP people doing it and they understand how to ask questions appropriately. You want a great example of that? When I got at MSP GeekCon, when somebody says my printer is broken, the HelptNow folks are going to ask enough follow-up questions during triage to find out if that means that it won't print at all or if it won't print in the right color of blue. Because there's a difference. We can fix one of those. So this isn't a coaching video. If you want that, you can go check out my channel. But I do think it's important, since you're here, almost any tool that's in your stack probably solves additional business pain problems or pain points that you don't put a lot of attention into because they're not your core usage of the tool. But you have to remember that there's a certain amount of theatrical pain you can solve with a lot of these tools. So I would take this opportunity, if you're watching this video, go back to your existing tool stack and look through it and be like, I use XYZ tool and it has this other feature here that I don't really care that much about, but the fact that we have it available, it really isn't advertised as a business solution on my line card, and I'm doing it anyways. And could I upcharge a little bit for it? I don't mean upcharge dramatically. I just mean, like, for example, if you're paying $2 a unit for a tool and you're currently marking that up, to $375, could you mark it up to $425 if you then told people that they would have these ancillary benefits that we all know they're not going to consume a lot of, but make your business sound more sophisticated and more mature and maybe open a few more prospect doors? You should think about it. I bet you have more opportunity there than you were thinking about. And if you want to add that on with Helpt, give us a call. Head over our website, fill out our form, whatever works for you. We can get you squared away super quickly. It's pretty awesome. And your techs will thank you. Because honestly, no one in this space, despite the fact that we keep trying to hire people, nobody in this space really wants to pick up the phone that much. So your techs will be happy that they can occasionally let one go through to Helpt and focus on whatever ticket they're trying to work on. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. And think critically about, are you actually getting the most out of all your tools from a ProfitCenter standpoint? You'd be surprised.